Now they try and take my flow, I make my dough. Hey yo, I can make it rain cause I be making it snow. But yo, I've been taking it slow.
Girl Talk is the stage name of a guy called Greg Gillis, who is a DJ from Pennsylvania. He specialises in mashups using digital samples of other people's work. He has released 5 full-length albums. The first was in 2002 and the most recent was in 2010. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the 4th album from Girl Talk, and it's my first encounter with him as an artist. So what I normally do is that I listen to an album twice usually, and if it's something that I don't know, I will deliberately not read up on the album or the artist before I have the first listen. I'll do that between the first listen and the second listen, so I get a different context, as it were. And when I first started listening to this album, I thought, oh no, this is another sweary rap album of hip-hop. And so at that point in time, I didn't feel up to it, so I stopped and came back to it later. What I didn't realise at that time was I was only hearing the very first part, and it's a mashup. And so actually, once I got into it, I felt very differently about it. So it's a mashup. I'll try and describe what that means in a second, but stylistically, it's kind of got a hip-hop leaning in that it uses those kind of beats, and hip-hop often has used samples, and it's got quite a bit of rap in it as well, but it's also got kind of, soul-like singing as well. Most of what you hear here is other people's work. I understand there is some of his own instruments in here, but I wouldn't be able to tell you where. Okay, but it uses a lot of samples. There's over 300 samples, I believe, in this album, and there's usually several going on at once. So this is it's sometimes called plunder something or other. Anyway, but it's a mashup, is what I would call it, and it's all very well designed to fit together. You might think that this would be a complete mess, and it's not. So it's got good musical sense as to what things will work with what else. He is using the technology to make things the right speed that he wants it to be, and to pitch shift if he needs it to be done. He also understands musical flow, so the whole thing flows really well from section to section and moves through. So it's usually, most of the time, it's got some backing, and the backing is taken from a wide variety of sources, and actually there's maybe often 2 or 3 bits of backing going on at once, and then often there's some singing or more often some rap going on over the top. Not always. So there are bits where you can kind of focus more on the backing. Some of it may be double sampled stuff, as in he's sampled from something that has already sampled from something else. But the backing stuff that he's got has got a huge variety that he's using, way back from 60s. Quite a bit from the 70s, definitely 80s stuff and beyond, up to fairly contemporary stuff. So for example, I recognise some Queen in there, I recognise some Daft Punk in there, and and that's the sort of range of stuff that he's using in the background. The other thing that surprised me was that he even recognised some of the rappers. So I've been dipping into rap as I've been doing these reviews. So some of them have got quite distinctive voices. Some of the messages and the language are quite adult. Pretty much that's from the rap rather than from anything else. I would say that's unfortunate, because otherwise it's the sort of thing that I would quite like to listen to, but I don't think it's the sort of thing I'd listen to around my kids. I certainly wouldn't want to listen to it at work, for example. And the whole thing is designed to be, it's been made as a continuous whole. It keeps moving on, it keeps changing, but it all rolls into itself. And originally it was created so that it was just one big piece of album-length mashup. And he did then split it into tracks for practical reasons. And I did check, actually, it will just about cycle back to itself as well. So if you put it on constant loop, it would be, after a while, it might get a little bit wearing. But actually, I found it very pleasant. I would. I would hesitate to use this word, but I think it's genius. It's really well done. And I think I would say that I've not heard mashups done better than this. It's really engaging. You're always kind of, or I find I'm always listening for things that I know and trying to work out what's going on. And, there's a little snatch. What's that from? Do I recognise that? Etc. So I really enjoyed it. I could listen to it quite a few times. I was very impressed with the sensibility of it and the skill that's gone into putting this stuff together, and it's just got a great feel and groove to it, pretty much all the way through. So I really liked it, and I'd love to know what you think. So please talk to me through the comments box. That's it from me for now.